All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day. Tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public.
Welcome back to Conservative Call, Patriots. I'm your host, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like button, because what I'm about to show you will absolutely infuriate every freedom-loving American. This is exactly why we can't trust these corporate elites with our most personal information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Seal Savage, if I could just start with you. So how many customers do you have approximately?
Between 14 and 15 million customers.
Between 14 and 15 million. I think you told Senator Britt just a minute ago that a goodly number of those are minors. Is that correct?
What I said was I don't have the number of customers.
You have the genetic data of a good many minors. Is that correct?
We have genetic data for a particular number of minors, and I will be happy to provide.
People under the age of 18. Is that correct?
That is how I'm defining a minor.
So they give your customers, I just want to make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And I mean, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information. Is there anything more personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company? It doesn't make me feel any better.
It's a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real?
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
Senator, they can delete that data anytime up until the sale and after.
Okay. They can delete the data. Have you fixed the ability of customers to go on your website and delete it? Because right after you announced your sale, your deletion page went down. I hold in my hand here an article from the Wall Street Journal. 23andMe's site goes down as customers struggle to delete their data. Can they even get onto your site to delete their data?
They can, Senator. And
you fixed this?
That was an issue that, yes, we fixed immediately after.
It's up and running now? Customers can go on?
Customers can go on and they can delete their data.
What happens when they go onto your site to delete their data?
When a customer logs into their account at 23andMe, they go to their settings page, and there's a section there where just click delete my data. It confirms that they want to delete their data, and it's deleted automatically.
Is that true? Let's take a look.
Okay.
When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button that says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
You send it once, and how long does that take?
Our policies state that, we will delete their data within 30 days, and in most cases, it is automatic and happens much quickly.
And when you delete it, it's deleted. It's gone forever.
All the genetic data is deleted forever, and yes.
Really? Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you have requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, et cetera, And then it goes on, 23andMe and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information even if you choose to delete your account.
Senator, 23andMe, it does not retain any genetic information regarding the consumer once they delete their account. We do.
It says right here that you will retain genetic information, including date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account. This is your privacy policy. I'm just quoting from it.
Senator, to the best of my knowledge, we do not maintain any genetic information.
It says even if you choose to delete your account, we will retain your genetic information, date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account.
There is some information that we do retain, but not related to the genetic information.
Right.
But that, such as name, email address,
Oh.
and other.
So even if you delete the account, you retain their name, you retain their email address, you retain their date of birth, you retain their sex, and you retain their genetic information, even if they choose to delete your account. So in other words, don't talk to your suit behind you, talk to me. He's not testifying, you are. You do not allow consumers actually to delete permanently their data. And when you said a minute ago to Senator Moody, at all times consumers have complete control of their data, that's just not true, is it? By the terms of your own agreement, that just is not true.
Senator, with all due respect, all of the genetic data is deleted. We are only
With all due respect, what you are telling me is in direct contravention to what your own policy states, even if you choose to delete your account. In fact, what you do is you allow your consumers to delete their account settings, but their data isn't deleted. You still have it. The laboratory still has it. You have their name. You have their date of birth. You have their sex. And now you're going to sell it. Here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them. Have you not?
Senator, we have not. I assure you that we are deleting all of our customers who have requested.
No, you're not. You're not, because your policies say they're not. And you're not deleting it because if you were, your company wouldn't be worth $300 million. No, don't read from what your guy behind you is shoveling talking points to you now. I don't want your talking points. I've read your policies. I've seen what they are, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public. Quite frankly, Mr. Salsavage, what you're doing here has all kinds of implications, national security implications, all of it, but nothing is worse than taking the personal, identifiable information of American consumers and keeping it and lying to them about it while you make a huge profit off of it. It's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely unbelievable. This concludes our hearing. I want to thank each of the witnesses for taking the time to share your experience, your expertise, and your perspectives. Written questions can be submitted for the record until Wednesday, June 18th at 5 p.m. I'll ask the witnesses to answer and return questions to the committee within 2 weeks. The hearing's adjourned.
I just watched the Senate hearing footage, and folks, what I witnessed was nothing short of a complete betrayal of the American people. We're talking about 23andMe, a company that has collected genetic information from 15 million Americans, including our children, and they're about to sell all of it to Big Pharma. Let me break down what actually happened in this hearing, because the mainstream media won't tell you the truth. The 23andMe executive in Wojcicki was grilled by senators about their plan to sell customer genetic data to Regeneron, a massive pharmaceutical corporation. But here's the kicker. They promised their customers this wouldn't happen without consent. This is corporate America at its absolute worst. These people collected the most intimate, personal information possible from millions of Americans under false pretenses. They told customers they had complete control over their data. They promised it wouldn't be shared without permission. All lies. When pressed about deletion capabilities, the executive claimed customers could delete their data anytime. But then we find out that right after announcing this sale, their deletion page mysteriously went down. Convenient timing, wouldn't you say? And even when customers think they're deleting their information, the company keeps their genetic data, names, birth dates, and personal details anyway. This isn't just about privacy violations, patriots. This is about national security. Think about what foreign adversaries could do with the genetic information of 15 million Americans. China has been aggressively collecting biological data on Americans for years. Now we're just handing it over through corporate greed. What really gets me fired up is how this executive sat there and lied directly to Congress. When confronted with their own privacy policy that clearly states they retain genetic information even after account deletion, she kept denying it. The senator had to read their own policy back to them word for word. This is exactly what happens when we let Silicon Valley tech bros and corporate elites run wild without proper oversight. They view us as products to be sold, not as citizens with rights. Our genetic information, our children's genetic information, is being commoditized and sold to the highest bidder. And let's talk about the bigger picture here. This isn't an isolated incident. We're seeing a pattern of American companies collecting massive amounts of personal data and then selling it off, often to foreign entities. TikTok does it with our behavioral data. Now, 23andMe is doing it with our literal DNA. The senator in this hearing deserves credit for calling out this corporate deception. Too many politicians would have given them softball questions and let them off the hook. Instead, we saw real accountability. The executive was clearly unprepared for tough questions and kept contradicting their own company policies. But here's what really concerns me as a conservative patriot. Where's the outrage? Where are the criminal charges? This company essentially committed fraud by misrepresenting their data practices to millions of customers. They collected money and genetic information under false pretenses, and now they're profiting from selling that information despite their promises. This is why we need strong data protection laws that actually have teeth, not the kind of toothless regulations that just create more bureaucracy, but real penalties for companies that lie to consumers about how their data will be used. When companies violate the trust of American citizens, especially involving something as sensitive as genetic information, there should be severe consequences. The national security implications alone should have the FBI investigating. Foreign governments would pay billions for access to American genetic data. It could be used to develop targeted biological weapons or identify genetic vulnerabilities in our population. This isn't science fiction. This is a real threat that our intelligence agencies have been warning about for years. What can you do about this? First, if you're a 23andMe customer, demand answers. Contact your representatives and tell them this is unacceptable. Second, be extremely careful about what personal information you share with any company. Read those privacy policies, even though they're deliberately written to be confusing. Most importantly, we need to hold these corporate elites accountable. They think they can lie to Congress, lie to their customers, and face no consequences. That needs to change. Support politicians who will actually fight for your privacy rights, not just give lip service to the issue. This hearing exposed everything wrong with corporate America today. Greed over transparency, profits over people, and absolutely no accountability for deceptive practices. As conservatives, we believe in free markets, but free markets only work when there's honesty and transparency. What 23andMe did was neither. Patriots, this is your wake-up call. Your most personal information is being traded like a commodity, and the people doing it are lying to your face about it. We cannot let this stand. Share this video, spread the word, and demand better from our elected officials. Thanks for watching Conservative Call. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening, hit that like button and subscribe for more truth that the mainstream media won't tell you. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep fighting for America.